people that are trying to look cool in the streetwear industry are the brokest people. And the ones that are the quote unquote sellouts, them is the ones that's pushing the Ferraris and in the hills. And what's the deal, baby? It's your boy, the Prince Machiavelli, aka Chris, aka a bunch of names. You know what I'm saying? I'm the owner and the founder of the infamous streetwear brand, Lord Knows Clo. And I'm basically just giving you my perspective on why back in the day I never went into ZUMIEZ. And now since I'm older, I'm wiser, and I'm kind of looking at everything from an airplane lens on why I kind of regret it right now. So the first thing that we need to get into is my mindset and the type of paradigm that I had back in 2018 compared to where I'm at right now. Obviously, where I'm at right now, I kind of look at everything from an airplane view and from an airplane lens, and I look down at everything before moves get made. Back then, you know, I'm still a young dude. I'm only 27, 28. I'm still ripping and running, and I'm still on the street level, but I can't see far ahead of me. Now, obviously, I had a vision with my clothing brand and everything like that, but when it comes to the streetwear industry, it's super weird. It's probably the weirdest industry just due to the simple fact that it's the industry of cool. Like, everybody's trying to look the coolest. Everybody isn't trying to give out secrets. Everybody's a gatekeeper, and it's just a hierarchy of like who's the coolest, right? So all of my decisions was made off of my followers, I guess you can say, because if I would have went into ZUMIEZ way back then, they would have kind of looked at me as like a sellout and everything like that, and that was the furthest thing from the truth. Now, since I'm older, looking backwards at the decision I made of not going into ZUMIEZ. So basically, like I said, this whole entire story occurred back in 2018. If you guys don't know who Getter is, he's like a famous EDM DJ, and me and his brother is super close, and Getter's brand was in ZUMIEZ back in the day, but he had his brother running it. So we all at Complex Con, and this is like, 2018 Complex Con out there in Long Beach. And he told me, he was like, hey bro, one of the buyers from ZUMIEZ, he's about to meet up with us up at Complex Con. So I was like, cool. Like, I'd like to meet him and shit. So basically, we at Complex Con, we just walking around different booths, seeing all the homies setting up shop and stuff. And then I run into Trevor, that was the buyer of ZUMIEZ. So when I met him, he was like, hey bro, like, Lord knows, like, I love what you do. I thought you guys were based out of LA. I didn't know you guys was from Portland, blah, 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 blah. So then as we get into the talking and stuff, he's like, bro, I'd love to like carry your brand. And Dylan was happy for me, and Dylan is Getter's brother, because like he lives in Portland. So he was kind of looking at it like, yeah, bro, like this will be a good look for you and stuff like that. So as I'm like chilling and stuff, I already knew in my head that I wasn't going to do it, but I still was like, let me just set up a meeting with him and just see what the numbers is looking like. And the reason why I counted it out immediately was just due to the simple fact that all of my decisions was made off of how other people would feel about me, and that was like my biggest red flag now that I look back. So let me get back to the story. So me and him, you know, we get together. We kind of was talking briefly, and I was like, hey, let me just hit you up when I get back to the crib, when I get back to Portland. Me and you can get on the phone call and break down everything when it's like peace and quiet environment. Because when I'm in LA, I was partying and hung over this day and this and that. It's crazy because I was only out there for like 3-4 days. So I was like, let me just wait till I get back to my land. And right when I get back to the soil, then that's when we gonna get it going. So that's exactly what happened. Me and him, we got on the phone, and the numbers, you know, I'm super transparent. He was like, bro, starting out, we're going to put you inside of 26 stores. The wholesale amount, I believe, was $30,000. And for me back then, that was crazy, because think about getting a $30,000 bag and you don't really have to worry about pushing those units at all. You're just getting you're just getting that bag within 30 days, and then you're chilling. You don't have to worry about the hustle of pushing out all of those garments. So that was like a plus. But one of the cons as well that came with that was the net 30. And for those who are new to this or don't know what a net 30 is, basically when you go inside of a wholesale store, or for any B2B, and if they're doing like a net 30 with you, you're not getting that check right up front. So basically I have to come up with probably about $8,000 or $10,000, and I got to fulfill that order. And then once the order hits the ZUMIEZ warehouse in under 30 days, then they're cutting me the check. So at that time, you know, money was kind of all over the place. I had a son on the way, but at the same time, I should have just did it just so I can have that security blanket for him. Because in my head, the way that I was thinking was, okay, if I go into ZUMIEZ, all I'm going to do is a drop every other month. Like I was going to make an exclusive line for ZUMIEZ, right? With my brand. So let's just say if I released this in black, I would have put gray and white colorways and stuff like that, like strictly to ZUMIEZ. But looking back too, like another con of going inside of ZUMIEZ, he was like, bro, we'll love to carry you, but at the same time, like you got to calm it down with the graphics and shit. Because I don't know if you guys ever see my brand, like it's very, very, very graphic based, and it's very uncut, and it's very loud, and it's very raw, and it's very extreme to a person that just seen it for the first time. You know what I mean? So that kind of like set me back a little bit, and I wasn't willing to like budge with that. I wasn't willing to like water down my brand. But now that I look back, it's like I'm such a creative dude. I could have made something that was like right there at the borderline of like extreme, but just perfect to go inside of ZUMIEZ. But I wasn't willing to do that. You know, I was young and I was hard-headed, and I didn't really listen to anybody. But one compelling part of the story was when we were at Complex Con. I'll never forget, I ran into my homeboy Jordan Bentley. He runs an 8-figure clothing brand called Hypeland. And I was like, man, bro, like ZUMIEZ just told me that like they fuck with what I got going on. And he was telling me, he was like, man, bro, like you should do it. And at the time, this is what I told you guys, I was already clocked out. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that shit. I'm not going up in ZUMIEZ. But I'm asking him like, why you think I should go up in ZUMIEZ? And he was like, bro, he was just all like, the dudes in this game that try to look too cool, then be the ones that's in apartments and broke. He was like, and the ones that are the quote unquote sellouts, them is the ones that got Lambos, they got the Bentleys and everything like that. And it made me really ponder for a minute, because I'm looking like, okay, like there might be some truth to that, you know, but at the same time, I was like, am I willing to listen to him? And I'm stupid for even asking that, because at the same time, my boy runs a $20 million business, and I still was like, I hear you, but I don't hear you. But now since I'm looking back, I see exactly everything that he was saying. Not only that, I'm seeing everything from a different perspective, because if I would have went inside of ZUMIEZ, I would have been getting an extra bag on clothes that I really didn't have to hustle to really push. You know what I mean? Anybody out there that has a clothing brand, they think this shit is sweet. No, this shit is not sweet. Like, it's not easy to make $10,000 off of cotton every single month. You know what I'm saying? For new customers, even repeated customers, it's not easy at all. So for ZUMIEZ to come to me, and I could have built that relationship, you know, 26 doors starting out, you know what I mean, $30,000 every single time they willing to cop from me, and then they was going to disperse it into 26 doors and see how it did. I mean, shit, I could only imagine 4 or 5 years later how much they'll be ordering from me right now, and that's money that would have just been mailbox money. You know what I mean? So long story short, I told Trev over the phone, I was like, yeah, like, I don't think I'm going to do it. You know, like, you know, I want to, this, that, and the third. And this is one thing that he told me that a lot of people in the industry do that a lot of people don't know about. He basically told me, he was like, bro, listen, I get it. You don't want to put Lord knows in here. That's your baby. But why don't we do this? Why don't you just go make a second brand that you're not attached to and you don't really care about? Put that inside of ZUMIEZ, and now we're cash grabbing from that, right? I'm taking that 30K bag off of the brand that I'm not attached to, and then you just take that and then throw it into Lord knows. But at the time, I was so lazy. I was like, man, I done killed myself just to get to this level where I'm at right now with Lord knows. And I just felt so much resistance on like building out a second brand. So I was like, I'm not even willing to do that. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, I'm positive. But one thing that I can honestly say, looking back at my whole entire journey and my whole entire run, back in 2018, I should have went inside of ZUMIEZ for the reasons that I just said. One, it would have been, I wouldn't have had to hustle as hard as I did to make an extra $30,000 every single time I made an exclusive drop. Two, I had a son on the way, so I should have been looking out for him rather than just caring about me. And three, the harshest reality, and this is the one that every single person watching this right now, if you're still watching this video, that means that's telling me that you're a serious brand owner. And the reality is, and this is the hardest truth that I've had to come to terms with running a brand, if you're not a monopoly, and what I mean by a monopoly is a brand that can put in 1% and they're seeing 10 back, like Supreme. They not really putting that much input to receive maximum output. If you're putting in hella input, you're not a monopoly. So more than likely, you're going to either have to have a second hustle, or you're going to have to quote unquote sell out or do something that the normal brand is doing. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do hyper leases and still be dope and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like you're going to have to get a second hustle or a second brand, or you're going to have to budge something to make your dream come to fruition with the brand that you have right now. Now, when you look at Palace and FTP and Supreme and all these other brands, those are monopolies. Those are the people that are at the top of the hierarchy. Now, if you don't have capital, resources, and the knowledge to get to that, like, or if you're not willing to sit in that gap hella long to get to that, then my best bet to you is sit down, you know what I'm saying, and do what's best for you and your family, and don't think in that place of, well, I'm going to get there. Now, obviously, I want you to get there, and I still think that I'm going to get there. You know, I've been in business only 8-9 years. I plan on running my brand until the day that I die. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like everybody's tree doesn't grow the same. Everybody's tree is different. You know what I'm saying? If you go look at nature, not one tree is the same. Some grows quicker than others. Some grow this way, some grow that way. And that's how it is in life and with business and running a brand. Everybody's brand isn't identical. So the fact that you're trying to walk identical steps behind somebody else, it's not authentic and it's not pure. And just because that person is up there, that doesn't mean that you're going to get there. And that's one of the coldest and most harshest realities that I've had to come to terms with, you know, because in my mind, I'm thinking at that time, like, oh, I'm going to be the next biggest thing in the next 4 or 5 years. But like I said, it's like, if I would have went into that ZUMIEZ route, you never know. I probably could have grabbed that bag, you know what I'm saying? And now I could have probably got more employees. I would have been able to do bigger and better things with my brand. But now I'm still constrained. And it's just like what Jordan said, like the people that are trying to look cool in the streetwear industry are the brokest people. And the ones that are the quote unquote sellouts, them is the ones that's pushing the Ferraris and in the hills. And that's exactly what he said. And he is actually living that right now. He's in the hills. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm still in the apartment. And that's the honest to God's truth. So I'm not trying to hold you guys up. I hope you guys like this video. I'm not trying to go on a Kanye rant or nothing, but I just wanted to break down to y'all why I never went into ZUMIEZ and why I kind of regret it looking back, and the lessons that y'all can learn from me on what to do and what not to do when it comes to running a clothing brand. If you guys want to follow me, you know what I'm saying, I got a free Discord also as well. I have a free workshop, so get at me. Love is love. I'm out. Peace.